She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast.
Damn good coffee. And hot. Would everyone please take a seat?
Welcome everyone to episode 10 of the Twin Peaks Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Melanie.
I'm Brad.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Hey.
Yay!
Hurrah!
We're very inconsistent with our applause for our guests.
I know, we need to either keep doing that or stop doing that.
What's your claim to fame on the internet, Michael?
I wrote the 35 Years of David Lynch blog and been an active force to try to help bring all things Lynch to the public, well, to their knowledge.
Sweet. Everyone who's been listening to the show will know that I've been referencing that blog a lot. Very in-depth.
Very informative.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
It's a great website that I look forward to eventually being able to go to.
Someday. Yes.
It's true that I've actually been looking through my articles because at first I told people it's relatively spoiler-free except for the episodes that I review. But I've been looking at it more carefully. It's true that I frequently do have little references to bits and facts that aren't quite huge spoilers, but they're enough that you probably would want to stay clear for a little while. Mm-hmm. At least until Laura's killer is discovered.
Yeah. Okay, so before we start on this one, I have another late email for the previous episode. Okay, this one's from Michael. Loving the podcast so far, and looking forward to more episodes. You guys have been speculating about the meaning of the shots of the stoplights. Almost every episode of Twin Peaks takes place over the course of one day, and each episode starts in the morning and ends at night, only to continue with the next day in the next episode. I don't think there's much more to the stoplight shots than just to show that time is passing, and it's now gotten dark. As Cooper implied in the pilot, more dangerous and spooky things seem to happen at nighttime. As for this episode, that's the previous one, I think it's one of the best. There are so many great scenes. The elderly waiter scene, the giant, the creepy Ben/Audrey scene, Ronette's vision, Albert at his funniest, and of course, how long have I been out? I give this episode 10 awkward winks and thumbs up as Cooper lies dying.
Out of 10.
Out of 10. One more thing about the previous episode before we go on to this one. I completely forgot the most important thing that I should have done at the end of the last episode.
I know.
Is ask you who killed Laura Palmer. Now that you've got more information.
Just rewind. Rewind, guys.
So, Caitlin, Brad, who do you think killed Laura Palmer now?
It was kind of nice to be off the hook for 1 week because I find it's getting harder and harder for me to guess. I have no idea.
Well, if you find someone that you think is suspicious, you can stick to them the entire time. You don't have to switch it. I know Brad likes to switch it, but...
Yeah, my sticker was Ben Horn,
okay.
But I think I'm starting to see more that he might not, really have that much to do with Laura, and like such a thing as Laura wouldn't matter as much to him. So I don't know.
What do you think, Brad?
Well, I was perfectly content to pretend to believe that Squirrely Peasant Bob killed her, but I mean, obviously, from everything we've said, and that's not going to be the case. There's going to be more to it, but I still want to pretend. I'm going to pretend to believe that it's him and him alone, even though I know it's not, because you're asking the question. And yeah, so there's more to it, and that's throwing me up. So
okay, all right. Yeah. So let's get on with episode 10. Do you have the
Well, I do have a slightly better synopsis this time.
Okay.
But it's still the Netflix, so it's still inaccurate.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is Season 2, Episode 2, Coma. Agent Cooper receives unwanted help and unwelcome news, and Audrey gets deeper into trouble.
That Audrey.
What'd you say earlier? She's a firecracker.
True that.
All right, so who wants to open up with the first note?
Can we sing in a barbershop quartet to start? I wish I could. God, yeah. I wish I could.
Yeah, if you pay attention to the background in the great, there's always something strange going on, like different conventions and stuff happening. Now we've got a barbershop quartet.
On one of the old DVD sets, they had a documentary that talked about how the directors would often hang out with each other on the set, even when it wasn't their episode. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of having a contest amongst themselves to come up with, fun little things, little business to have in the background in the hotel. Different people coming in, like, beauty pageant contestants or different folks of that nature. And I actually did a little bit of research on the barbershop quartet and what it might mean to David Lynch, because it's not in the script. I also read the screenplay to the episode, and it didn't mention anything about that. And so I looked up and I saw that some of his favorite movies included W.C. Fields' 1934 comedy classic, It's a Gift. And in a relevant scene, W.C. Fields' family camps out just off the main highway with several other tired travelers while moving to California. Mm-hmm. And while they're camped out and they're resting and they're having a conversation with each other, a guitar player and a quartet perform some songs in the background. And so I think there might be a little bit of a correlation to that.
That's awesome.
Right, David Lynch directed this episode, right?
Yes, and so I think he was paying homage a little bit to that scene.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
I posted the interview excerpt that had David Lynch discuss what his favorite TV shows and, I'm sorry, not TV shows, but movies are. Yeah. And I posted that on the podcast Facebook page.
I saw that just a second ago. I haven't had time to check it out yet, but I will. What do you guys got, Caitlin and Brad? It doesn't have to be about the barbershop.
Because we know that's the key to this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It's the cute.
All about the barbershop quartet.
Yeah, it's the
those melodies.
Series.
What do you think about King Ho Ho Ho, as Albert derisively turned him?
Who is he referring to?
The story about the first king of Tibet that basically got the Buddhist religion reached amongst them. And I looked it up, and the Dharma is their scripture. And for lost fans out there, you'll recognize Dharma because there's an organization called the Dharma Initiative, and they're kind of behind a bunch of goings-on on the island on Lost. But none of you have watched Lost, right?
Oh, yes, I very much have.
Oh, you have? Okay, good.
It's just me and Mel.
We're way behind and everything.
Yeah, when you get around to it, it really was influenced a lot by Twin Peaks, and it was very well done too.
Know what else seems to be influenced by Twin Peaks? That frickin' Killing Show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's a ripoff.
Pretty
much.
Who killed Rosie Larson?
Yeah. I just heard that they revealed in the last episode that she was, mixed up in like prostitution and drugs and stuff.
Yeah, they had this group called Beau Soleil, which was basically their One-Eyed Jacks, and I was watching it with some family, and we were all big Twin Peaks fans, and when that came on, we all just looked at each other and went, One-Eyed Jacks.
Yeah, it's a total ripoff. It's weird.
Maybe I shouldn't say that since I haven't seen it, but
but it seems to be.
Just from the descriptions.
Yeah.
From what I hear, there seems like there's a lot of overlap.
There is, but I have to say they do a pretty good job. It's a good show.
I'm sure it is.
I'm enjoying what I've been seeing of it so far. I have to say, it had a couple of slow episodes near the beginning.
That doesn't mean it's not a ripoff.
Amen.
Everything's a ripoff.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay, so we have Albert back in the mix, and he's talking to Cooper about Cooper's former partner.
Yes.
My question here is, I don't know if we're supposed to know yet, but I couldn't quite figure out if Cooper knew that his partner was in an asylum or whatever, because Cooper says he retired.
And then said to the crazy house or something like that.
Yeah.
In a comfy chair, complete with wrist restraints in the Laughing Academy.
I immediately think either Cooper didn't know that part of it, he just thought he had retired, or Cooper definitely knew that he was institutionalized or in the hospital or whatever, and was trying to keep it from Albert.
Maybe it was just a sensitive subject for Cooper, because it did seem to be kind of, I don't know, bothersome to him. But
I do think he was just trying to be delicate about it, not wanting to think about it, because it is a traumatic experience. What happens? I won't reveal it because it would be a huge spoiler, but there's a lot of stuff attached to that incident that's very sensitive to Cooper, and in fact, we're going to be learning more about it in the future, so you don't have to worry too much about being vague. But yeah, I think he's just being delicate right now.
I think this scene is really interesting because you see the sort of relationship that Albert and Cooper have, and I think they very much respect one another, even though they have very different approaches.
Yeah, Coop seemed very surprised when Albert showed concern for him, though.
Yeah.
And when he made a joke.
He makes jokes all the time. What are you talking about?
This one was more direct.
I love the way Cooper says that too, and he's like, "Oh, you're trying to be funny, huh?"
I thought Albert did a pretty good job of succeeding at being funny too.
He always does.
I think Cooper is just kind of in another place right now. His head's off with the Dharma and the king of Tibet right now, and
Bye. I'm still not down with Cooper.
Yeah? Would you prefer Albert to be in Cooper's role in this series?
No, I mean, the show is perfect as it is. It's just, if I was going to make a team to solve this mystery, I would have Albert, Audrey, Bobby, and Hawk. That's all I would need. And it would take like 5 minutes.
Would you throw in the log lady in the mix?
She seems to know a lot.
Oh, I would have her and...
It's very mystical, though.
Definitely. I would definitely have Log Lady, but I would have her with the Major having an affair.
I like where you're going with this.
I have to say there is some chemistry there. There is something really interesting going on with that pairing.
Yeah, I think we'll get to that, but...
So Oddjob is spying on them, Brad.
So happy to see him in the mix. I definitely feel like he's the one that shot Cooper now.
Yeah? Okay.
Either that or he watched Cooper get shot.
All right.
Rosenfield and Cooper's temporary partnership, they have such a funny working relationship. It kind of makes me wish that instead of having so much time with Sheriff Truman, it was just kind of Albert and Cooper on their adventures together.
Me too, yeah.
Yes.
I wish Albert was around a lot more than he is.
Yeah, Albert's humorous cynicism mixed with Cooper's more kind of ethereal approach to things.
We didn't mention what they found in the contents of Jacques' stomach. I just wanted to mention that because...
that was his joke.
But the thing is, because Albert is so thorough with everything, it's kind of amazing.
They didn't really find any of that in his stomach.
No, but...
How about Maryland license plate? Could be, man. Could be.
Move on to the next scene?
I think this scene is the most exciting one in the whole episode.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's pretty great.
I really enjoyed it.
What?
So we have, the creepy old lady and her grandson. And their apartment is just pretty much one giant room. And the creamed corn.
Oh, cream corn.
I requested no cream corn.
I actually know why she doesn't want the cream corn, and I just figured it out recently, but we won't be able to talk about it until the prequel movie.
All right.
Hey.
Well, I'm going to say this. Hey, lady, your grandson is a witch, and someone needs to burn him. Burn that kid.
But what kind of an explanation is that? He's a magician. That doesn't explain anything.
Was that magic, or was that just Twin Peaks weirdness?
He's a witch. He's a witch.
If I was Donna, I would have run out of that room so fast. But she did. She was like, I'm going to go now. See ya.
I think Donna was just taken back by how much it looked like a really, really small David Lynch.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Exact same hair. He even kind of talked like him.
Yeah, it's actually Austin Lynch, David Lynch's son.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No wonder.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty surreal because I'm pretty familiar from all the interviews I've seen of him. And whenever I get to this scene, it's just so strange to have this mini Lynch thrown into the mix.
I was going to ask that if you knew if he was related because, he looks like him and he sounds like him.
And the character will actually, maybe I shouldn't say anything about it.
Well, you can say that he shows up again.
It's true. In the prequel movie, the character shows up again, but because Austin Lynch, I believe, was probably a little too old, too big to play the part, David Lynch actually has his nephew play that part.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I didn't even notice it was a different kid.
They all look like him. I kind of want to ask people which is worse, hospital food or cream corn?
Well, I have to say, if the hospital food had made that woman crazy like she is right now, definitely the hospital food is worse.
All right. You can make cream corn disappear.
Like this. I talked about this on my website too. I just wanted to point it out here again. Is that David Lynch, whenever he directs an episode of Twin Peaks, he always puts in a very surreal scene. And for instance, in the pilot, you have the vision of Laura Palmer's mom, Sarah, seeing the gloved hand going in and grabbing the heart-shaped pendant from the ground. In the episode with the Red Room, of course, there's that entire sequence where, Cooper's dream and the craziness. And then in the last episode...
There's that crazy flashback.
A crazy flashback of Renette with Bob and what was going on in the train car at the time of Laura's murder. And then in this episode, it really seems to be this, and maybe a little bit also at the end with the vision that we'll get to later. But I just wanted to point out that I've paid attention. A lot of the other directors, they don't really do too much supernatural material. But really, David Lynch almost always seems to be bringing it back to that.
Yeah, he's really pushing for that. And that's why I love him.
Me too.
Oh, I've got a question. The kid says something at the end of the scene.
She seemed like a nice girl.
Before that, doesn't he say like something? I don't know if it was different language or something, or if I just didn't catch it.
Yeah.
It sounded like Latin to me.
J'ai un âme solitaire.
Actually French, yeah.
It's French. Yeah.
Do we know what that is? Is that anything? Can we?
I'm a solitary soul, basically. Or a lonely soul.
I'm a lonely soul is how it translates.
Yeah.
All right. Because he's a witch. That makes sense.
Well, one small note.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who was brought up just before he quotes that?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you?
Do you really?
I'll ruin it for you. Harold Smith is brought up, and it's kind of a weird non sequitur when the grandma explains that he's a next door neighbor and that Laura was friends with him, and then all of a sudden her grandson says that j'ai un homme solitaire, and you're kind of like, what?
Yeah.
What's that? But it's pretty cool. I'll say that won't be the last you heard of The Lonely Soul.
All right.
Cover your ears.
There's lots of people you won't hear the last of.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to know who I'm not going to hear the last of.
Oh, you're not going to hear the last of anybody, Brad, so...
What, does no one ever die in Twin Peaks?
No, never.
Well, they do, but then they have conveniently look-alike cousins show up.
I enjoyed the little peekaboo from the window of the supposed Howard Smith...
Harold's.
Harold... Oh, I can't even talk today. Yeah, I just like the little peekaboo there.
What do you
know? That the Donna writes is so small, I'm just like... That could easily just be lost in the mix.
Yeah. Well, we know from later in the episode that she's going to go meet Harold Smith. What do you two expect of Harold Smith? What do you expect him to be? Or did you think about that?
I got nothing.
If you didn't,
right
you
now.
should think about it.
I got something later, but I don't want to.
You'd better.
What do you think, Caitlin?
That he might be a confidant for Laura, maybe.
Yeah.
That's my only guess. Yep.
Is he going to be a decrepit old man?
It sounds like he's supposed to be an older man, but who knows? Just never expect what you expect.
All right, so let's move on to the extended stool scene.
Stool of awkwardness.
Love that.
The Legion Evil of Legion has put these stools here to prevent us from investigating Laura's death.
Foiled by a stool. That's just another one of those awkward, too long scenes
Right.
he likes to put in there.
I love it.
And Ronette is showing a picture of Bob, but who was...
Can I add something?
Oh, yeah.
That scene actually wasn't scripted, and they said that David Lynch just told the actors when he saw them struggling to use the stools, go ahead and use that for the scene.
Yeah.
And so they just incorporated it into the actual scene.
Nice.
And trying to figure out how to lower them down.
He seems to do that a lot.
He seems to rely on his actors a lot to kind of, figure it out.
Well, I mean,
he directs them, but I mean, he kind of he gives them a lot of freedom, it seems.
But I mean, he likes to keep in, organic moments from life and, put them into the scene.
It's kind of fun.
Which is great, because I think it keeps you off balance, and B, you can't really script that sort of thing well. Because as soon as, you give something like that to an actor, and they are trying to act out doing it, something happens in their head. It just becomes a bit, and it takes on a completely different life.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I have a quote from Kyle MacLachlan that addresses this. Mm-hmm. He said, he played Agent Cooper. David is the keeper of the flame. This is his world. The show is unique because of the combination, the balance of Mark and David. That uniqueness is not necessarily transferable. It may madden the staff when David directs a segment because he throws the rules out. But to us actors, that freedom is an elixir, a magic potion. It's hard to have it watered down once you've tasted it.
I can imagine. It'd be probably a lot of fun to be directed by David Lynch. Although I did see a documentary about him recently just called Lynch, and he was swearing at a lot of people.
very, very angry.
You're a director. That's kind of your job. It's gonna happen. And if it's not happening, there's something terribly wrong going on.
All right, so they show her a picture of Bob, but who is the first sketch? I couldn't really tell. Mel thinks...
I thought it was Leo.
Leo?
Yeah, it's kind of Leo.
I thought it looked like James.
It's if James and Leo had a child. God forbid.
Geo.
Geo.
I only had those two notes for that scene. Anyone else have anything?
At the very end, when you hear Ronette, you sort of... I think you hear her voice, but you also sort of hear some sort of... distorted voice as well. So it sounds like the sounds that they had before in the dream sequence, sort of maybe Bob's voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
And does she hit the light, or how does the light go off? Does it break? Is it she hitting it? Is it magical light breaking? What's going on?
It does look like Ronette's arms are flailing out of control. She's kind of seizing at the trauma of re-experiencing the Laura's murder, and her arm smashes over the light. It's a little bit confusing, but that seems to be what they're going for.
Yeah. Smoked cheese pig.
Yes!
I want one.
Me too!
The 3.
Where'd he get that thing?
I don't know, but I want to know where he got it and where I can buy one.
Probably his travels to those.
Or as part of a gift basket from one of his business associates.
Yeah.
Probably from the Icelanders, too.
Yeah.
You never know.
At their ledger burning party, what they're doing right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny because all of you have talked about how confusing the Packard sawmill conspiracy is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hilarious because Ben and Jerry are basically admitting that they have no idea what's going on now either. They're just kind of at an impasse, and
I don't feel so bad now. Even the characters who are, carrying out this plot are confused by it. They would just rather eat marshmallows.
With hickory sticks.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Jerry's always a little bit loony, but he seemed even more loony this episode, or at least in that scene as well.
Yeah. He looked like he was trying to stop from laughing half the time.
Yes.
But
I feel like, I don't know, it's like he's turned it up to 11 at this point, and I want him to go back down to like a 3.5.
You're not a fan?
No, I am. I feel like, I don't know. I think he's going a little too far at times.
But I love...
I mean,
I enjoy Jerry, though, just because I can identify with him. He's got my love of food. So, I don't know. It's just something that I don't know.
I feel like they're really latching onto this idea that he's like this never satisfied, gluttonous character that just wants more and more and more.
He's still trying to grow. Gain a few inches.
But he's very childlike anyways in this character.
Oh, so they definitely think that Catherine is dead. There's no doubt there, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's dead.
No? Even though we haven't seen her for 2 episodes?
No, she's not dead.
Okay.
She's far too
That or
old for that.
her lookalike cousin isn't dead.
Still no sign of Josie either.
But we didn't see Pete in this episode either,
No.
but that doesn't mean he's dead.
No. It's just hiding, grieving.
Move on to Andy trapped in some sort of tape thing.
Seriously, Andy? Seriously? Come on. You're not that stupid, are you?
How did he get hired, I wonder, in the first place? And why is he allowed to use
They
it?
just felt bad.
Probably all about the passion in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
He wants to make a difference, so, they let him in.
I feel like he probably showed up with like a plastic badge and was like, I want to be a police officer.
I think
They just like, all right.
maybe they gave him an honorary badge when he was a kid, and then he graduated from there.
And maybe they all just felt sorry because they couldn't include him in the Bookhouse Boys.
Yeah.
Of how stupid he was, and they thought, well, we'll just make him the deputy. That's fine.
Oh, you're probably right, sadly.
I was gonna say, I love how well he is like trapped in all this tape. The Major's looking over, and you can see that the Major kind of wants to go over and help him.
The log lady is called out by Norma for her gum littering. What is tree pitch gum?
Is this something you can buy, or do you just get it from a
You just
tree?
literally rip it out of a tree and chew it, or what?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
I don't have too much experience with it myself, but all my buds were doing it back in the day, and they told me to get the good stuff, you have to get it just right.
Get some ants in there
You're
and
making
stuff.
this sound like a hard drug.
No, I think it is just basically like sap, essentially, from trees. A little bit thicker.
And the log tells General Briggs to deliver the message.
Okay.
We know what happens with that.
I kind of want to know what a bear claw is.
It's a pastry, but
Is it?
Yeah, it's like a big donut that's
Ooh,
flavored
yeah,
specially.
I'm kind of hungry right now.
I love the chemistry between the Major and the log lady, though.
Yes.
It's so awesome.
They're two very strange characters, so it's nice to see two strange people being strange together.
I just want them to have more scenes or an affair. I'll take either one.
And did you know she has a name? Norma calls her by her name.
Oh, yes.
Margaret, yes.
That fits.
I read that her last name is Lanterman. I'm not sure if they were talking about it in the show itself.
That's funny to me, for a reason you might be about to say.
Well, I was just thinking of the Green Lantern,
Oh,
and
no, I was going to mention in the game Alan Wake, which has a lot of Twin Peaks references. Instead of a log lady, there's a lamp lady. So she goes around with the lantern all the time, or a lamp.
That's awesome.
Maybe that's why how they got the idea for a lantern or a lamp lady from the log lady's last name, Lantern. Is that what you said it was?
Lanternman, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious. The log lady really seems to know a lot more than almost anyone else. And you have to ask yourself, are there bookhouse girls as well as boys?
Oh, maybe.
Sexists.
Yeah, no, there are sexist pigs in Twin Peaks, so no, I don't think there's any. They don't.
Or at least the secret society's rules.
They barely let Hawk in.
Exactly. Well, that's why the log lady has to work on her own, right? She's doing her own work, and so is Audrey.
Yeah, because I was thinking
Both
they
of them
really should
getting more
recruit
done.
the log lady. I mean, she has like a direct line to what's going on.
Yeah, I know.
She could solve most mysteries pretty quickly.
I know, but
You know what? She's on my team. She's on my team.
The good Legion of Good.
Yeah.
But she works on her own schedule, so it might make things a little difficult for you.
Yeah.
Well,
She never says anything directly either. She always has to make a riddle out of it. That would be annoying. I would kick her out for that.
Then she would come back 2 more times. Say, I know about you.
I have Andy's buzzing like a fly around. That's how I saw that scene. She's chasing a fly and she's annoyed by it. You hear the fly sound effect and you see Andy walking back and forth out in front as you hear the fly sound effect.
which I like. I like that because you get a better sense of the tension.
And she's just annoyed by him.
Right. And the way he's pacing, back and forth. And
I thought that was a really interesting scene. Without saying any of his lines, Andy
Yeah.
managed to show how dumb he is at sometimes. And the way he said things was just so hilarious.
Yeah.
without quoting it, because I definitely think we need to save that.
We can paraphrase what he said.
To describe the scenario is hilarious, but then to actually think of what must have happened. The fact that he's concerned with sperm whale.
So he goes
So he's going to go make a donation to them.
Yeah.
At what point do the bells go off?
We don't want any of what you have, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, if what Andy's saying is right, I guess Lucy could only have so much of him too before going elsewhere.
Seems like it.
If he's sterile, if he's right and not misreading that and confusing it with other, ocean biology, then.
Or being clean.
But this is my thinking. If he was that confused about where he was going, he could have somehow messed up that donation.
It's true.
For how dumb they both seem, they do have some similarities. They both seem very deliberate. Like, Andy is very slow in how he talks and when he says things. And then there's that scene when Lucy was transferring the call to the office, and it just took so long. They showed her doing absolutely every little step, which is interesting. But yeah, they seem like very deliberate. Just take their own pace, people.
In line with the blinking light.
And in Harry's office, we get the buck stopped here. Who wants to explain that reference?
I guess I will.
Sure, go ahead.
President Harry S. Truman had a plaque on his desk in the White House, in the Oval Office, that read, "The buck stops here." And I guess Sheriff Harry S. Truman, trying to play off of that, came up with the really worst pun that he could possibly come up with.
That's what he does.
So Hank is in there checking in with Harry. Hank's snickering at everything that's said. We find out he used to be a bookhouse boy. My thought is maybe they shouldn't have let him be a bookhouse boy and, get involved with all that illegal stuff they're always doing, because he seems to have gotten a taste for it.
Well, that's it. He was part of the Nerdo Club, and then he got then the dark side pulled him in. All those secret handshakes and kidnapping people, and
I'm guessing Ed didn't react too well when his fellow club member took off with his girl and kind of deceived him about what was going on, at least. And
Probably.
He ends up married to Nadine the next day, so I would kick out Hank.
Yeah.
I got married to Nadine
You guys
because
think that's what happened, really?
wow,
Is that what the rift in their friendship?
even though it's not explicitly said in the picture, in the screenplay, yeah, that's what he refers to. I think it's a little bit better, keeping it a little bit more open. But yeah, I imagine that happening when they're all pretty young still.
Yeah.
17, 18, 19. Would have definitely colored their relationship with everyone in the club.
Can I ask a question to Brad and Caitlin?
Yes.
I want to know what you guys think why Hank is laughing. Why he's giggling so much. Why is he giggling so much all the time? Like, well, especially there.
Because he thinks he's cool? Cooler than Harry, and he's right?
Well, I wasn't asking the question you meant.
Oh, I'll shut up.
At first, it seemed a little immature, but I kind of got the sense that he was nervous around Harry because they did used to be such good friends, and he almost cared about like what Harry thought, but he doesn't want to show it to him because they're not friends anymore. But yeah, I think he's just kind of nervous in there, and so he's out of control a little bit.
See, I still think Hank knows a lot more than he's letting on about, because he's the big fish and he's the devil or something of the sorts. I don't know. The fact that he used to be good and part of the Bookhouse Boys and whatever, and now that we've seen him like go the opposite direction, I think only builds a stronger case that he is much more dark and sinister than we know so far.
So do you think he's like laughing because he's like getting the best of Harry?
Or he knows he knows about something that's going to happen, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and he's definitely working with Josie, right? Under Harry's nose. So
That would be a reason to laugh at Harry.
I would say so. Yeah.
Not only that, but I think he basically knows everybody in town's secrets. He knows who's in business with whom, who's doing what illegal activities. He seems to be really at the center of it and knows more about what's going on than almost anyone else, I think, except probably Ben himself, Ben Horn.
Yeah, because they're all going through him. Everyone hires Hank.
We did deduce that he was the devil.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next scene here. Leland trying to get back to work and screwing it up.
Royally. Again.
How many times are they almost going to kill our fire Leland?
Do you think he was serious when he said kill Leland?
Oh, didn't this happen before?
Yeah, feels like deja
Well,
vu.
before he said get him out of here or something like that, but this time he's like, please kill Leland.
Well, maybe it's third strike, you're out. Completely out.
See, I like to think that maybe something's happened and Leland just can't die. And like they tried poisoning him, and all it did was turn his hair white. And it's
like
just
Rasputin.
a series of wacky scenes.
He's Rasputin. Oh, man.
So we find out that Leland knows Bob from childhood.
Yeah, that was interesting.
How is that possible?
My mind is blown.
A little before that, Ben finally reports that Audrey's missing.
It's been 2 days.
So,
yeah.
So we find out it's not completely unheard of for him to not see his daughter for a whole day.
But really, does he have to be sipping the fine wine while he's reporting it to the police?
Yeah.
He's a very sad man right now. He needs to drink.
I don't think he's too sad.
No.
He seemed more bemused than grieving.
What an annoyance.
He's trying to quell his annoyance with the wine.
Audrey's ruining this too.
I'm gonna lock her up in the attic like I did Johnny and her mother.
Oh, great.
Who haven't
Where
seen.
kids go. That's where kids go in Twin Peaks.
You have more Native American outfits up there?
Okay, I've got a question.
Sure.
So who's calling for Harry?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Here's that scene.
I seriously don't.
Lucy won't put them through. It's bizarre.
Do we find out, Michael?
I don't think we get a specific answer to that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Do we ever find out who gave Donna the note, the Meals on Wheels
Yes,
note?
I think so.
You
I'll get to it.
Okay.
I think that you can kind of surmise, but you have to kind of guess. I don't think they explicitly state it.
Quick note on the hospital with Leo. He's got brain damage, I guess, it seems. So he could be out for a while. And he's got a great man sweater going on. He's a hairy man.
Wild and woolly.
I like the idea of him having brain damage because I think
Fuzzy man.
I like the idea that he can grow his own sweater. It's nice. It's like a superpower. Bill Cosby power, go! I feel like whenever he does come out of the coma, the problem with Leo is that he was too aggressive, but with no real character. But if he comes back from this coma with like some brain damage, and he's still as aggressive, but a little crazier, or maybe he gets mixed in with the evil darkness somehow. And he's a little off. I think that could be a lot more interesting a character.
Yeah, he's kind of bland.
So I think they've laid down groundwork that they could make more of him.
We'll see as we go.
I think it's amusing he has a mirror right over his bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of like, what's that about? Is it so he can spot somebody if they try to kill him from behind? Who wakes up?
There's someone under my bed.
Imagine if I think that mirror is pretty much only there to make the shot better.
Yeah, I think so
Didn't have
too.
all three of them. But if he actually did wake up and then just saw himself in a hospital bed reflected, that would be scary.
Out of body experience. I'm dead.
So when we get Emery's fetish, which involves bound hands and feet, a blindfold, a cowgirl, vacuuming, painted toenails, and ice.
Well, it's not that weird. I mean, come on.
It's just very specific is all.
It is very specific.
Any fetish that is that specific is a little...
You wonder where it came from.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a story behind all
I don't
this.
want to know it if there's a story.
It's involved his mother somehow, I don't know.
No, no, thank you.
I think Brad will back me up on this. The evil legion of evil is definitely involved. So whatever that backstory is.
Defo.
That's the initiation. Audrey interrogates him and finds out a nice chunk of info. Finds out her
Most of which
father.
she already knew.
Yeah.
She just wanted confirmation.
Yeah, it was confirmation that her father's the owner. I'm sure she suspected that.
I looked at it as her kind of testing him to make sure his answers were going to be legit.
It was a bit of a desperate move for Audrey, because does she really think that Emery's going to do nothing about it when she lets him go?
Yeah.
Especially after she just basically waterboarded him for the information.
She's a badass. That's why
Indeed.
she's on my team.
She's really advanced. I mean, look at her in the pilot, and she's basically just sticking pencils into coffee cups, and now she's, basically doing rendition and getting the information that she needs, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I still contend that in the pilot she was just bored. She had nothing to do, and now she's focused on something. What's somebody's next note?
Bobby trying to romanticize Leo's coma.
It'll be great, the three of us together in one house.
It's a return to form. This is some industrious scheming. I was happy to see it.
I found it amusing that when one insurance scam went the way of all the earth and was foiled, the one with Catherine, because she wouldn't sign it because of the insurance agent coming to her in private. And by the way, I wish we could see that insurance agent some more. He seemed like a pretty interesting character, but...
Yeah.
So as soon as that one goes away, though, Bobby's bringing up a new one.
I don't really know about this scam, though, because I don't know how much money he's going to get out of disability compared to how much money he was getting running drugs and being a truck driver.
That's true.
Granted, Shelley wasn't getting probably very much of that money, but I'm pretty sure the bills were being paid.
Yeah, we'll see if it works out for them.
It does seem that Bobby's industriousness is aiming at a very low bar right now.
Especially when he doesn't think he has to pay bills.
He hasn't moved out of his parents' house yet. He's
Still in high school.
Yeah. He's just
Which
a
he
kid.
hasn't gone to in a while.
In a long time. Oh, I remember what I was going to say, Brad. Who is on your team?
Did I say this earlier?
Yeah, you did. You just forgot.
The
Matt.
entire team, you said?
Yeah, okay, here's my team. We've got Albert, Audrey, Bobby, Hawk, and Log Lady on the sidelines.
Okay. All right.
As a consultant.
Yes.
She's Professor X.
Twin Peaks First Class. A gritty reboot.
Yeah.
Okay. Next scene? Unless somebody else...
I'm kind of frustrated that he still doesn't realize there's a note under his bed.
Yeah.
It's there. Look under your bed.
Well, the thing is, he remembers all this stuff that the giant told him when he was bleeding to death. But he can't remember that he had a note from Audrey, who he now knows is missing.
As we found out, when it comes to Audrey, things get a little different for him.
In the last episode, you talked about how you thought the note got so far underneath his bed. And I thought about it, and if you look, Cooper fell down like a good 10 feet away from the door, so
Yeah.
it didn't look like the impact caused him to fly back. So most likely, I think he was reeling backwards after getting shot before falling down. And I would assume the note slipped out of his hand and went all the way,
Yeah.
up to the head of the bed.
But it's not even like it's under the middle of the bed. It looks like it's just right at the edge and like he could almost step on it. And then Major Briggs comes in.
It was interesting that, they seem to be bringing an extraterrestrial element here. I don't know what to make of that, except that he's definitely involved in the Stargate program.
My eyes were rolling a bit on this one. I don't know. I feel like it's just an extra bit too much.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna go you can't go supernatural and go aliens. It's so much to take in. And when you go aliens and you get into the sci-fi-ish realm, then the story becomes much bigger, and I don't know. I don't know. I like to pretend that maybe the Major has no military affiliation whatsoever, and he's just like some nerd that dresses up in a ridiculous fake military costume and hangs out with a bunch of other nerds and pretends to search the skies for aliens. And
Hangs out with Johnny Horn and goes on a rodeo with him.
You're like the guys from the X-Files, that team of like weirdos, Lone Gunmen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They're those guys, but just not really actually finding anything.
I think maybe they could never afford to have a mental hospital in Twin Peaks, so they just let them run loose.
Well, maybe it's not space aliens. We'll see.
Yeah, because the Major doesn't explain exactly where the source of the signal came, only that they did receive one on their deep space monitors, which he maintains here, so they have to be down on ground level.
I don't think that this means that there are directly aliens involved with Twin Peaks. Just the idea that the Major is involved with some military program that is hinted at searching for extraterrestrial signals, it just annoys me a bit.
Okay.
But if we get to like the end of the series and the last shot is Cooper getting abducted by aliens, my eyes are gonna roll out of my head.
Wait for it.
We should quit now.
That's a warning.
Yeah.
Not a threat.
All right.
Okay, this is the moment we've been waiting for, people. Best scene in the history of the series. Ever.
Could be the worst song in existence.
But
Where did this even come from?
You mean the reverb? The echo? Or the voice?
The whole idea.
Why are they cutting an album in the Hayward's living room?
It's got acoustics, Brad. Really good acoustics in there.
Yeah.
Like, if they were just sitting around singing together, that would be one thing. But the fact they've got microphones, they're clearly recording this thing.
So they can remember it forever. I know I'm gonna remember it forever.
What, you never cut a demo in your living room with your best friends?
No.
Are they high, or why are their eyes closed? Open your eyes.
They're
All the
trying
eye
to be
closing.
seductive, Brad.
Yeah, they may have been trying, but
When they do open their eyes, though, they both, they long for James. Oh, James, so manly. Swoon.
But James is all looks and no substance, though. It's just kind of just an empty shell.
Wait. Back up. James is all what?
All looks, no substance. Well, he's just got that 50s movie star kind of look, you know what I mean? Like, he kind of looks like...
I think he's just, surprised that you think he's got looks in the first place.
What? No, well... It's kind of obvious that they only hired him as a pretty boy,
Let's get Caitlin's opinion. Is he a pretty boy?
He's kind of
A bit of one, yeah.
He might not be my taste or anything. Like, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying he's obviously not there for his brains. The chicks obviously love him. It's not because he's ugly.
The motorcycle and the leather jacket might have something to do with it, too.
Could be, yeah.
And the falsetto.
The funny thing is, I think it actually might be his voice, but it sounds so fake that it's incredible.
Yeah. I didn't think it was him at first, but and after watching it a few more times, I'm pretty sure it is him.
It's just he's overdubbed, I think, though. Like
Yeah, the lip syncing just didn't work right. Billy Manilli time.
So, yeah, teen angst.
So much.
I thought the moment was well done.
Yeah.
The kind of love triangle moment when Donna gets upset and takes off and leaves. That felt real, and it felt kind of universal.
Yeah, it was done well, okay, but I don't know.
The song probably that just did it.
No,
the song is not even bad. It's just the way that it's just him.
I know this is probably a controversial opinion, but I don't like teen angst in my Twin Peaks. I know it's a huge part of the Twin Peaks though. Like there's so much teenagers being teenagers, and every time they're on screen, I just don't like it. But I still love the series.
Like the thing is, like I actually really do like the Bobby and Shelley stuff.
Yeah.
Because I like both of those characters, and I think they're interesting. But like the whole James stuff, it's so heavy and forced and elaborate and obvious that I can't get down with it.
It's just kind of bland is all. It's just, there's not enough, their characters are not deep enough.
It's in there for the audience that just is tuning in for a soap opera.
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys sound a little bit like Laura Palmer. You're like, it's sweet, but it's so dumb.
Yeah,
Exactly.
she had it right on the money there.
Yeah.
For For reals.
Like me, I thought it was pretty hilarious, the scene. And to me, it works both on a camp level and also on their... I like the teenage angst. I think at the center of it, Laura's teenage angst is really what's, holding everything together in the show, like keeping people's storylines together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit off-kilter.
But the show's off-kilter.
Exactly. I like the idea of this kind of ghost from the past, this woman with the face of Laura who, is related so closely to her, being cousins, but just, Donna thinking that this was going to work out this way anyway, that she and James were going to get together anyway. But I think right now she has to be seriously questioning that. Yeah. Because as soon as this kind of Laura surrogate comes in, James just starts kind of being drawn to her the same way that he was to Laura before.
Right.
Not even paying attention to Donna.
Even though he was apparently falling in love with Donna while he was with Laura.
But who knows? That could just be a line, right?
Yeah. He just said that to get in her pants.
Bastard.
I think Donna is being overdramatic and that she doesn't need to worry about James, but it's probably the stress of the whole situation of trying to find who killed Laura. But I find it entertaining. That scene was hilarious and awkward.
Donna's desperation definitely isn't sexy for James right now. It's really not helping her case.
No.
And she gets a call from Harold Smith.
All right.
James.
Here is something that I noticed. What she says immediately on the phone is, there's a pause, and then she says, I received yours. I can only assume to mean he says, I got your note, and she says, I received yours. So that's why I think he must have sent the note to the diner.
You think?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Can you confirm or deny that, Michael?
I can't.
No?
But that actually does make a lot of sense.
My only question is, why would she think that he sent the note to the diner?
Yeah, there's no way she could have known from what we've seen.
Yeah, 'cause in fact, I always thought it might be Mrs. Tremont, next door.
Yeah.
That may have sent it, and that, and because she doesn't go out of her place, that might be why. And she had to send a note.
But how would these people even know?
That would make sense with Harold, too. Harold Smith.
I don't know how they would know of Donna, though, if they never leave their homes.
And apparently Harold wasn't on the Meals on Wheels route, because Mrs. Tremont had to tell Donna about him. So I'm kind of wondering how Harold would think that she would get over to him then if he sent the note.
If he was friends with Laura, he might have thought that she would be the one to get in touch with to find out something about Laura.
But I think he actually was on the Meals on Wheels route, because I don't think he leaves his house much, so...
True.
Kind of need to be fed.
And then
he just gets cream corn from the witch kid.
He transports it over.
Yeah.
Hey, what? Oh, more cream corn.
Not again. And the next thing that happens, I can just imagine Brad jumping up for joy. Yeah, we get Couch Bob.
Jumping up for joy at a creepy man crawling towards you.
Yeah.
I love how it starts off, though, and he's just it's like he's walking through the background. And she's just watching him like, this is strange, but I'm not going to say anything. Oh my God. I love this creepy bastard so much.
Me too.
From that first shot.
Oh, and this might be one of the reasons why it wasn't necessary to have Bob's image on the bloodstained carpet, because David Lynch knew that in this episode he was going to be having this scene to kind of play off on that same theme over again. And that, this time you'll literally see Bob, not just the bloody stain on the carpet, but you're getting the full-on experience. And I kind of wonder if Maddie isn't kind of channeling Laura a little bit with James while they're singing together, and James is kind of giving her the goo-goo eyes like he did with Laura. And that maybe this opened Maddie up to whatever strange psychic experience she's having right now.
They drew Bob towards them.
I'm gonna kill another one.
It was James' singing that got him so incensed and angry. Them kids!
There's too much romance in the air, I gotta kill some of that.
I was having a perfectly nice evening, just me and my death bag, and I started hearing this awful noise.
I've been thinking about Bob, and I'm trying to decide if he's an actual person or just kind of like a spiritual manifestation or something. And just now I've come to the conclusion that he's probably a man somewhere in a coma, and his spirit is wandering around.
Oh, snap.
Well, comas are not out of place in this town.
Yes, it's true.
And this episode is apparently called Coma.
Mind and body are still far apart.
Yeah.
And then we get another dream montage from Cooper. And we get Bob with an owl on his face.
So I think what we're supposed to draw from this clearly is that Bob can transform into a robot owl.
Is it?
He's a transformer.
We get a reiteration of the line, "The owls are not what they seem." So we've heard this enough. I'm just going to say, if they're not what they seem, what are they?
They're evil spirits
Okay.
in the ancient forest.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be something along those lines. I don't know if they... I mean, now that we've got them connected with Bob, I feel it's definitely something sinister. Before I was thinking maybe it was something that they watched, because, owls with the eyes and the... I don't know, that maybe they were just keeping an eye on the balance between good and evil or something, but now I think they're definitely something sinister somehow.
Okay.
You know how black cats are often thought of as being witches' familiars? I kind of wonder if these owls aren't serving some type of similar role, whatever's going on in the woods, whatever's out there.
They're the familiars for that little tuxedo kid. We get Audrey again. Anything else before Audrey?
Yeah, actually, that would explain why that little kid would need so much creamed corn to feed those owls. It's all making sense now.
Owls do love cream corn.
Mixing
Because remember the Fire Walk With Me poem? The magician longs to see. What is he longing to see? Probably owls. It's all making sense now. We're through the looking glass on this one, people.
Yeah. Then we get Audrey, and she manages to call Coop and does not tell him where she is. She manages to say, "Where are you? Why aren't you here? Saw you in a tux. Oh, you look nice. Yes, yes, I'm in trouble. Click."
She's trying to play it cool.
It's just enough of a clue that if he never does find that note, he should be able to put it together.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but his mind goes all wonky around Audrey.
But it'll probably take an episode or two.
That frustrates me when people don't get right to the point, especially when they're in danger.
Yeah.
Also, why is she on the phone? Why isn't she just booking it out of there? I mean, I kind of start, strangling Emery Battis for a little while, and I think I'll be taking off, man.
Hop a speedboat.
Did all those people sneak up behind her, or is Audrey just completely unawares?
They did get there really fast.
It's true, he needs some time to change, though, from his special robes and nail polish, though, so she had a couple minutes.
Okay, I guess it's rating time.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna give this one an 8 sperm whales out of 10. There were some good scenes, such as the creamed corn scene and the music scene, which really made the episode entertaining. But yeah, it wasn't always the most exciting, so I give it 8.
Yeah, I really like this one. We got a lot of Bob, which of course always makes me happy.
Do you give an extra
Huge
point?
shots in there. Yeah, I think I do give. I think I always do give a little bit extra for Bob showing up in the mix. So I mean, we had some bad stuff. We had the song, which was that was harsh. But yeah, I think overall I'd give it 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 marshmallows on hickory sticks.
I would give it 10 out of 10 remarkably complicated stools in Ronette Pulaski's hospital room. And the reason why is because I just feel like whenever David Lynch is there, you get this entirely better show. Just from the performances, the characters seem a little bit more natural, connected.
Yeah.
The strangeness isn't just strange or weird for itself, but it seems to have these kind of interesting connotations to it. It has this deep-rooted feeling to it, and to me, I always looked at this episode as being just kind of an extension of the last one. So whenever I watch the series, I tend to watch the two-parter and this one together, and to me, it's very satisfying that way.
Even though I do love all the David Lynch stuff, this was probably my least favorite David Lynch directed episode. I'll probably give it a 9.5 man sweaters out of 10.
You have a 9.5 man sweater.
Well, he got the other side waxed, so he's got a man sweater on one side.
Unless you add in a leg in there or something, a hairy leg.
It seemed a little bit slower, but all the creepy stuff I love is still in there. I had to subtract half a point for just you. I'm sorry.
For me, it would be more 8.5 handfuls of magical cream corn. And because, yeah, it was kind of... I remember watching this episode previously, and I remember feeling like it dragged on a little bit, even more so than the 2-hour episode before.
Yeah.
But this time around, it didn't drag on so bad, but I don't know. It's just... But I still enjoy it overall. I always enjoy every episode, even the bad ones.
All right. Let's go to quotes. Who wants to go first?
Me. Okay, thanks. I would like to quote Andy.
Okay.
Right. When the Tacoma sperm bank was looking for donors, naturally I applied. It's my civic duty, and I like whales.
You could add the quote where he says, "The doctors told me I'm sterile. Sure, I thought it meant I didn't have to take a bath."
Albert Rosenfeld, addressing Dale Cooper's question, "Who shot me?" My men are interrogating the hotel guest, the usual bumper crop of rural know-nothings and drunken fly fishermen. Nothing so far. Oh, the world's most decrepit room service waiter remembers nothing out of the ordinary about that night in question. No surprise there. Senor Drool Cup has, shall we say, a mind that wanders?
I love it.
I've got one here.
Okay.
From Audrey. I'm insane. I'm Audrey Horne, and I get what I want. Badass!
Yes. Well, mine is, marshmallows? Ben, where are those hickory sticks?
Also, I would like to add another Jerry quote. It looks like we're 100% certain that we're not sure.
One more. You wear bright objects on your chest. Yes, I do. Are you proud? Achievement is its own reward. Pride obscures it. Cream?
That was one of my quotes, too. Yeah!
Sweet.
Oh, I had one other one. Miss, sometimes things can happen just like this.
Oh, I have another Jerry quote. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Brother Ben, we have 2 ledgers and 1 smoked cheese pig. Which are we going to burn? And it ain't going to be the pig.
I guess I don't have to ask you who killed Laura Palmer, because we already did that at the first. But next time, beware, I will be asking you again.
Okay.
Okay, wait, I've got one.
Oh,
Okay. Turns out Lucy is actually pregnant with a robot owl, and it came back in time to kill Laura Palmer. Done.
Brad, I so wish you would write Twin Peaks fanfics.
Okay, so let's get to feedback. Do you want to read this one, Mel?
Sure. From Christian Wolf Nielsen. Another great podcast. I always drink coffee, black as midnight on a moonless night, while I listen to you guys discussing Twin Peaks. About your theories on the death bag, one possibility is that it refers to the plastic Laura was wrapped in. Some questions for the next podcast. What do you think about the giant? Is he real or just something Cooper imagines? Do you feel that Cooper or someone else will eventually solve this crime? And do you really want to know who killed Laura Palmer?
Well, thanks, Christian, first of all. Do you guys have a burning desire to find out who killed Laura Palmer at this point?
Yes, I do.
Would you want them to reveal it fairly soon, or do you want it to be like a whole series kind of thing?
Well, part of it is I'm still curious about Laura, so I want to learn more about Laura.
Okay.
So maybe a whole series thing.
Yeah, I feel like so much of the show is tied to that if they did reveal it soon, I don't know what would be left to hang on to.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Do you get yours, Michael? I think I sent you Heather's. Do you have that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to read that one?
Hi guys, first of all let me say how much I really enjoy this podcast. Twin Peaks is my absolute favorite show of all time, and it's so nice to hear someone talking about it again, other than myself and my husband. Since we just had the episode where Maddie mentions her mother, I wanted to share a little interesting piece of trivia. In an interview that Grace Zabriskie, who plays Sarah Palmer, gave to the fan magazine Wrapped in Plastic, number 40, she states that there was talk of her playing the role of Maddie's mother, Bess. She would be playing her own sister, which I guess would help explain the twin cousins. She also says that she had suggested to Harley Peyton that this family would have been several generations of witches. She said there were some hints that they were going to do this, but unfortunately it never happened. It's too bad, too. I think that could have been great. Keep up the great work, guys. You really make me laugh, and I love listening to your show. Heather.
That's pretty interesting trivia. Did you know that one?
Witches!
Good to me.
I think
Burn them all!
We're on to something with the witches.
They're familiars, not the black cats. They deceived us. It's the owls.
All right. Thanks for that, Heather.
Alright, okay. I watched Twin Peaks the first time 3 years ago and the second time a year after that. Now you guys are digging up my interest again, unleashing a third wave of obsession over this fantastic show. You're all doing a great job, and I'm especially fond of Brad's comments. Doesn't Matt's voice sound a bit like Rusty's from Greek? Best regards, Jonas from Sweden. He mentioned that he tried to post that as a review on iTunes, but didn't think it works. Well, thanks for sending that in anyways.
Thanks for trying.
Yeah.
Who's Rusty and what is Greek? You guys?
Greek is a show that's on right now, I think.
Yeah, I'll have
Is
to
it
look
kind
at
of like a tween comedy or drama, like one of those Gossip Girl type shows?
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to know I have a sound-alike out there, though.
A doppelganger.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I gave you guys... It's my what?
Cousin.
It's my cousin.
It's your cousin.
He's filled with secrets.
Oh, no. J. Edward Key sent us one. Nothing super profound to say other than the fact that I'm really enjoying the podcast. I watched Twin Peaks back when it aired in 91, and usually end up watching it again every few years. It's really fun to hear the reactions of people who are watching it for the first time. This has been a really fun way for me to revisit Twin Peaks one more time. Thanks for doing it. All right, thanks, Edward. Or Jay.
Wait, let's list it. Let's think of all the J's involved with this case.
There are a lot.
I'm going to require a bucket, stones, a Native American wearing oven mitts, and a deputy that cannot think straight.
You were just
500 donuts.
Oh, Caitlin, so you watched the Saturday Night Live thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Consume this many donuts today. All jelly. I'll be injecting my insulin shortly. And I love the line about the sheets. I gotta find out what kind of sheets these are. I'm gonna get naked and slide around in them.
That the parody dance at the end too was awesome.
Yeah. And I thought, what's his name? Hartman.
Phil Hartman is Leland.
Yeah, he played a perfect Leland.
Yeah, he did.
All right, back to the task here.
All right, this is from Dave. Just what was James trying to accomplish with the Just You song in episode 10? Was he making a demo in hopes of getting signed by a record label? Did James have dreams of becoming the next Chris Isaac? The last take, which we the audience didn't see, was almost perfect to James' ears that he must be tone deaf, since Donna and Maddie's background vocals never approach anything close to actual harmony. And where's the percussion coming from?
Yes, we're the bass in that.
It's all of Donna's siblings up in the attic playing along with them.
James, there's a reason why you've never been asked to perform at the Roadhouse. It's because you suck. But take heart, James. Maybe you were just 20 years ahead of your time, considering all the wimpy, emasculated, lo-fi crud that passes for indie rock these days. Bon Iver, anyone? Fleet Foxes? Where are you now, James Hurley? Your moment has arrived.
That one's from Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Burn,
yeah.
Oh, snap! Oh, snap!
Send hate mail to Dave. Dave@dave.com. All right.
James Hurley tweets, "Shut up, Gabe. You know what you're saying, man."
And to close out, we have one from Claire, as usual.
Which we should mention too that we finally, the postal strike is over. Yay! Well, not really, but anyways, we got the postcards.
She sent us some postcards of some Twin Peaks art that she's done, and she gave us a pin for the Double R Club,
which I'm very excited about.
And I'm gonna put these on my fridge.
Indeed. She sent me a Bob as well.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Which is awesome, and I put him in a frame on my bookshelf.
Awesome.
I actually saw somebody used one of her pieces of art as their iPod background, too.
Funny.
The one of Laura wrapped in plastic. Alright, so on to Claire's email. Hi all, please excuse any spelling mistakes in this email. These are a result of me typing this with my elbows due to my fingers still being firmly lodged in my ears after witnessing the horror that was James Hurley singing.
Nice.
James, just when we think you can't get any worse, you go and surprise us yet again. Joey Paulson would kick your ass if he witnessed that little scene. This episode is my second favorite opening scene for the entire series. Did you see how much food Coop was eating at breakfast? Albert apparently doesn't need to eat because he's instead filled by pure awesome.
Well, Cooper does have to regrow all that cartilage after the gunshot.
He's gonna regrow it with bacon and eggs. We get our first mention of Wyndham Earl. Dun dun dun. Maybe Coop has secrets after all. Mysterious Asian gentleman who I shall henceforth refer to as Mag is back and doing a really bad job at not looking suspicious. I like to read Claire's emails for the first time on the show so I can laugh.
Yes.
By the way, while we're in between sentences, I just pulled it up on my television on pause, and there are like 4 plates of food in front of Cooper.
Oh my god.
It's amazing.
But I trust Claire won't spoil anything, so I feel safe just reading it. You can really tell that David Lynch also directed this episode. Lots of very drawn-out and hilarious shots and scenes, like the chair scene at the hospital with Harry and Coop, and the sticky tape scene with Andy. Also, in case no one else mentions it, The super creepy little Lynch clone, Pierre Tremont, is in fact David Lynch's real-life son, hence the resemblance. Nice. I love the log lady and Major Briggs interacting. I would almost like to see them in their own spin-off show as a kooky married couple.
Oh my fucking
Yes.
Lord. These are mine!
Having many adventures together and raising their log.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine Bobby coming to visit during the holidays in college?
Him and Shelley have their own little log in tow.
I think, sorry guys, I think Claire's a witch.
Reading our minds like
Yes.
that.
Every time.
Yeah. So Hank used to be a good guy. Do you have any theories on what might have caused his descent into domino-sucking evil? I think we went into that. I don't think he's sucked a domino lately, though. I was wondering if Brad had added Doc Hayward to the most industrious list yet. So far in the show, we have seen him be a coronary expert, fertility expert, spinal surgeon, trauma surgeon, general practitioner, coma expert, post-mortem specialist, as well as diet lasagna king. Maybe he was the one that taught Laura and Bobby the secret of the 48-hour day.
You know what? He's on the team. He's on the team.
You're gonna need a medic anyways.
Yeah. I mentioned last week that Maddie seems to be turning into Laura. What I meant to say was that physically she seems to be turning into Laura. More makeup, no glasses, straighter hair. Even her clothes in this episode were very Laura, while Donna seems to be channeling Laura's behavior more. Also, I see she can just bin her glasses with seemingly no effect on her eyesight. Does this mean that the lenses were just for show and that Maddie is in fact one of the world's first hipsters?
She is.
I miss the glasses.
Yeah. The Bob sofa scene after James... Oh, sorry. The Bob sofa scene... The We got the old lung butter going here.
Gross. Never say that word again.
Phlegm, I'll say phlegm.
That's not much better.
The Bob sofa scene after James' jamming session is generally considered to be one of the scariest on the show. I watched this episode on the big screen last year, and seeing Bob coming at you on a huge screen with surround sound is terrifying. On the other hand, I'm on the other hand.
That.
Yeah, Manzies. I third it. On the other hand, I'm sure that scene filled Brad with a deep sense of joy.
Always.
Wow.
What do you guys think about the fact that Leland claims to recognize Bob from his wanted poster? Did we get into that much? A little bit.
Not enough, though. Not enough.
Okay, I'm formulating a thought.
Okay, yay.
Okay, I stand by that. I think that whoever Bobby killed is who Hank took the blame for.
Okay.
So what if Bob is like in a coma somewhere, like crazy old, well, I guess he can't be that old, I don't know. Maybe Bob or Bob's family is somehow tied in with the Palmers, and whoever got killed was a descendant of Bob, or actually is Bob, and Leland is just remembering like Bob's father or something.
Or maybe it was Bob's cousin.
Or yes,
Twin cousins.
yes, something along those lines, and that's how it all works.
I like it.
All right. Also on traffic light watch, yes, I'm becoming slightly obsessed with spotting traffic light colors now. You might be interested to hear that the Tremonts had red, amber, and green curtains in their window.
Interesting.
That's good. We got her looking out for all these traffic light motifs. One last thing to add: Bobby's plan, worst plan ever. Overall, I really like this episode, but again, a lot of it feels like set up for what's ahead. I give it 9 pickled Icemen on a blower out of 10. Have a great week, guys. Claire. Thank you, Claire. We love you.
I love you too, Claire.
Alright, so I guess that's the end, unless anyone has something else.
Can I redo my intro? I did a really bad job.
Intro to what?
Oh, no, you did.
When I introduced myself.
Oh, you want to redo your intro?
Yes.
You can do an outro.
Get him off.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Cat out of
Emergency!
Close the door.
SOS! Get! Thank you.
Okay.
Alright.
Sorry.
This door doesn't close very well. There.
Sorry. So do you want me to try to...
I think you should include that in the podcast, by the way. Like a David Lynchism, where you include something real that happened.
Yes.
Ground it in reality, you know?
Good, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything you want to plug?
Sure. I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I'm based in Austin, Texas right now, where the burgeoning independent filmmaking scene is really starting to pick up. And I wrote 35 years of David Lynch as a way to kind of give me an excuse to study his films and TV shows in a lot more detail than usual, and be able to share some of my discoveries and kind of help bring some more excitement that people, I think, probably have died down a little bit because he hasn't made a lot of movies in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
His last one was Inland Empire, and but he's a great filmmaker. His stuff is timeless. It's really enjoyable to watch, and I recommend coming to my site. So even if you don't want any spoilers for the Twin Peaks stuff, you can check out my other articles for the other films.
Yeah, you have an article for every episode that Lynch directed of Twin Peaks, and an article for every film he's made, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one article summarizing all of his short films, commercials, and other web projects he's done. Pretty fun stuff, so.
I agree. I spent many an hour there. All right, so anything else, or are we done?
Well, I just wanted to thank you also for having me on. Your invitation.
Yeah.
And I've been enjoying it, loving it, and thanks for all the good things you said about my site, and it's always great to hear you quoting it too, so feel free to take anything from there you need or want.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I didn't take anything from there this time because you were going to be on, so usually if there's a Lynch episode, then I go to your site and I see what you've noticed and I bring it up. All right, so is that it? Or you have anything else you want to plug?
Oh, the most recent thing I posted up on the site was the recent Duran Duran live webcast that David Lynch directed.
Oh, I heard about that, yeah. It's kind of odd.
It is, and some of it is kind of a little bit random, but a lot of it really works well, and their styles mesh pretty well. I posted my favorite videos up on the article I called Concluding Remarks, and I don't think there's any Twin Peaks spoilers on there, so...
Cool.
Okay.
That one's safe.
And, of course, guys, you can catch me on the Ramjack podcast. We finally finished our rewatch of Charles in Charge.
Sweet.
So it's a good jumping on point if you don't want to hear about the tales of Scott Baio.
So, Brad, tell me, is Twin Peaks bearing up as the spin-off you thought it was?
Well,
Charles in Charge?
I'll just say, Charles in Charge, there's a lot of deep, dark secrets that are hidden just under the surface.
And teenage angst.
I feel we uncover them pretty well, and once you see them all together, I think you can make some connections. If you try really hard.
All right. What's next? Episode 11. We'll be going to watch that, and then we'll be back to talk with everyone in a week or two. So say bye, everyone. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye, farewell.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on twitter.com/TwinPeaksCast. Search for the Twin Peaks Podcast group on Facebook. And visit us on twinpeakspodcast.blogspot.com. Email your feedback to twinpeakspodcast@gmail.com.
Here's a tune for you guys. Okay. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.